This is module 6, and in this module, we'll be treating the topic international and local sporting events. So, don't forget, this course is sport management, it has to do with sports. So, it revolves around how we can actually manage different sport activities and different clubs and youth academy. We have been able to address some important topics during the course. So in the previous modules. So and in this module we'll be looking at international and local sporting events, how it can be arranged, how it can be organized, and different guides that can assist that can actually assist or aid that. So we have the contents of the module. One, we'll be looking at understanding international and local sporting events. So in that, in the topic, we'll be mainly addressing the meaning and what it means by international and local sporting events. What does it mean actually? So after that, we'll move on to the subtopic, which is major global events. We're looking at the major global events where we have the likes of Olympics, World Cup, UEFA Champions League and the likes, and even the Club World Cup. So these are the major global events that we'll be looking at there. So after that, we'll move on to the subtopics, which is the next one, which is the hosting rights, bidding processes, and eligibility criteria. So in this part, we'll be addressing the different rights that a team needs to have before they can actually host a sporting event, the processes and even the criteria to make different clubs or different clubs, let's put it that way, eligible or different clubs eligible to organize different sporting events. And also after that, we'll move on to the rules, regulations. Sorry about that. The rules, regulations, the winners, participants, and historical statistics. Then after that, we'll move on to the sports guide. So in this sports guide, we'll be looking at training, players, and games. So how do we guide training guides, players guides, and even games guide? So that's the main thing that we'll be looking at in that subtopic. And afterward, lastly, we'll be looking at local events in Nigeria and Africa. That's local sporting events in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. We also look at the major global events, and now we are looking at local events in Nigeria, which will be the final subtopic for this module. So we have the introduction to it that what do we mean by sporting events at international and local level? If you ask me, sporting events and at international and local level, it acts as powerful platform that in one way or the other unites people across different borders and also highlights exceptional athletic talents, encourage cultural understanding, and stimulates economic growth through tourism, infrastructure development, and global media exposure. So this module provides an in-depth exploration of flagship worldwide competitions like the Olympic Games, the FIFA World Cup, and UEFA Champions League, alongside key domestic and continental events in Nigeria and Africa, examining the organizational structures, the selection mechanisms for hosts, governing rules, notable participants and victors, and accumulated historical data that illustrate their enduring significance. So mainly this module, what we are trying to establish here is that this module is trying to introduce to us what sporting events and international at international and local level implies, what it means. So it's not just about organizing events alone, it is all about highlighting exceptional athletic talents and encouraging cultural understanding across the world, and it also serve as platform that unites people across different borders. So and example that we have at the international level was the like of our Olympic Games, FIFA World Cup, and UEFA Champions League. So and at the local level, we'll also be looking at different criteria, hosting rights and all that we need to have to meet up before you can actually host a sports event. We'll also address that. So now, what do we mean by understanding international and local sporting events? So that's understanding local and international sporting events. So we need to understand that, and when we are talking about international sporting events, just as the name implies, it has to do with it means that they are grand, they are multi-nation competition, that is organized worldwide, or continental federations. You understand? It could be continental, it could be global. We have in the likes of global, we have the likes of FIFA World Cup that is coming up this year, 2026. And we have the likes of AFCON, Nations Cup at the continental part, at the Continental Federation. So we have the likes of the AFCON as African Cup of Nations that is mainly organized by the CAF, which means the Confederation of Africa. So this is all about this international sporting is all about bringing together elite athletes from dozens or even hundreds of countries to compete at the highest level. Local sporting events, on the other hand, when we are trying to compare, by comparison, it operates on a more contained scale, usually within a single country or continent, prioritizing the nurturing of homegrown talent, strengthening domestic leagues, engaging league communities, and building pathways to international success. So the African Games are like a pan-African, a pan-continental multi-sports festival held every 4 years under the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa, and it mirrored the Olympics on a smaller scale by gathering athletes from up to 54 African countries across numerous disciplines, fostering continental solidarity and identifying rising stars who may later shine on the world stage. So this is just a direct explanation or instances on the international sporting events and African local or African sporting events. So the local sporting event has to do with within it is the sporting event or organization or tournaments, be it and also competition that happens within a local level. It could be between within a country or within a particular region of the country or continent as a whole. So let's move on to major global events now. We have major global events. We'll be looking at the Olympics, the FIFA World Cup, and the UEFA Champions League. Now, the Olympic Games trace their origins to ancient Greece, where they were revived in the modern era, starting with the 1896 Athens edition, under Pierre de Coubertin's vision of promoting peace and human excellence through sports. You should add to show us how important sports is. So the FIFA World Cup inaugurated in 1930 in Uruguay with just 13 teams, and it has grown into soccer's most celebrated event, now featuring an expanded 48-team format, starting in 2026 to increase global inclusivity. The FIFA World Cup inaugurated in 1930 in Uruguay with just 13 teams, and it has grown to be one of the most celebrated events, just like we have mentioned initially. So now the UEFA Champions League, on the other hand, it's evolved from the European Champions Clubs Cup, and it was launched in 1955. It was rebranded in 1992 to reflect its expanded scope and commercial appeal, which happens to be one of the most decorated tournaments amidst different clubs in the world. Every club in the world wants to participate in the Champions League. So where we have the likes of different, Real Madrid being the most decorated club that has won the tournaments. Then after we have Liverpool. So which you have most players and most clubs, they are always fighting for the space at the Champions League level, just to show how grand it is. We have the like of that World Cup too, which mainly happen or which is mainly hosted for 4 years after 4 years. So let's move to hosting rights, bidding processes, and eligibility criteria. Now, the process of securing hosting rights for major international sporting events is a highly structured, competitive, and multifaceted endeavor that is designed to ensure that selected hosts can deliver safe, sustainable, and impactful edition while aligning with the governing body strategic goals. This hosting rights, just as the name implies, it has to do with ensuring that the tournament is not jeopardized and the standard is not becoming substandard. So these are we have different eligibility criteria that must be met before you can actually organize a sporting event. So this is there to is designed to ensure that the host that is being selected can deliver safely, perfectly, and sustainable and impactful edition, while also aligning at the same time with the governing body strategic goals and the rules and regulation of the competition. So for the FIFA World Cup, for instance, the bidding procedure has been overhauled following past controversies to enhance transparency, integrity, and accountability. In the case of the UEFA Champions League hosting UEFA Champions League now, hosting rights pertain primarily to the venue for the single final match rather than the entire competition, which allow UEFA to select prestigious stadiums across its 55 member associations. So we have let's move on to the rules, regulations, winners, participants, and historical statistics. So the Olympic Games, it operates under a comprehensive set of rules that is established by the IOC and in collaboration with the international federations for each sport, incorporating the Olympic Charter's principles alongside specific technical regulations. The all-time medal table underscores long-standing dominance. The United States leads overwhelmingly with 1,105 gold, 879 silver, and the 781 bronze medals. That's total of 2,765 across 33 summer editions since 1896. Followed historically by Soviet Union 395 golds and emerging powers like China. So FIFA World Cup regulations is overseen by the FIFA statutes and the laws of the game, emphasize fair play, the use of technologies like the VAR, which means the video assistance referees, since 2018. Team compositions of 11 players with limited substitution and strict disciplinary measures. So we have these rules have to the normal daily rules that we normally see in sports activities. The using of video assistance referee, the VAR, which has commenced in 2018, normal 11 players to have also that everything will be balanced. One referee in the middle and another different with different helpers, which are the linesman and the VAR referee. And also, what have we again? Team composition, the things that you can do and undo on the field. If you slam the ball on the floor annoyingly in front of the heavy yellow card, all those kind of basic things. These are the rules and regulations that we are trying to discuss here. The winners, how you can actually celebrate on what you can do and what you cannot do on the pitch, how you can celebrate what you should not do, the necessary, if you have shirts, yellow card, all those kind of things. These are what we are addressing here. So now let's move on to sports guide. That is, this guide has to, under this sports guide, we have the training, we have the players and the games guide. We have the training, the players, and the game guide. So what does it mean? Let's look. This guide provides a broad overview of key elements in sports applicable across individual and team disciplines such as soccer, basketball, tennis, and the likes. So when we are talking about training guide now, training guide. Training in sports refers to the structured, progressive process of developing physical capacities, technical skills, tactical knowledge, mental toughness, and overall performance readiness through deliberate practice and recovery protocols that is tailored to an athlete's sports level, age, and goals. So we have the physical training, which targets key quality strengths like speed and agility, endurance, running or sports power, and flexibility or mobility. So this is about physical training. The key target is the quality in strength. Make sure that you have the physical strength to play. The physical strength to play and to display your skills in well enough. Modern approaches integrate sports science periodization, data from wearable, nutrition and recovery strategies and the like. These are the modern approaches into training where we have different data from wearable. Sports science periodization is integrated whereby they try to cycle intensity to avoid burnout. Tracking heart rate, load sleep and the likes, ice baths, massage, active rest, all these things. So now let's move to players guide. Players are individuals who actually, we should know that they are individuals who actively participate in organized sports, possessing or developing specialized physical abilities, technical proficiencies, tactical intelligence, and all. So athletes or players, they serve as central figures in sports, executing strategies, showcasing talent, and driving competitive outcomes. So their roles vary widely. In team sports, position include goalkeepers, keepers, which command the defense. We have the defenders, which are the backline players preventing scores. The midfielders, midfield, they are the connectors. They control tempo and transitions. The forwards and strikers, they are the goal scoring specialists and versatile utility players. So in individual sports, athletes focus on self mastery, emphasize explosive starts, Endurance running, runners build aerobic capacity. Gymnasts perfect position and strength to weight ratios, and combat athletes for combine power, technique, and strategy, which implies that these are the different areas that players train at and how they can be guided. We have the defenders, they should know what to do. We have the keepers, which is there to prevent goals and the likes. Now let's move to games or competitions guide. So when we are talking about competition in sports, it is structured contests. They are structured contests or events where individuals or teams engage under standardized rules to achieve objects. So and it represents the ultimate test of preparation, blending skill, strategy, psychology, and sometimes unpredictability. So the core elements include the following rules. It includes enforcement, that is the referees or official using cards, penalty, or disqualification. Rules format, which could be four quarters in basketball, sets in tennis, arts or final tracks in tracks, and strategies. It has to do with possession-based play, counter-attacks, defensive setups, or pace management, and the like. So high-stakes events demand peak conditioning, mental preparation, and recovery between matches. Analysis via video statistics and scouting informs pre-competition planning, targeting opponents' weaknesses. So while maximizing strengths, competitions teach resilience and the like. This is that about games guide. So let's move on to local events in Nigeria and Africa. When we are talking about local events in Nigeria and Africa, in Nigeria mainly we have the Nigerian Professional Football League, which is the NPFL, that was founded in 1972 and restructured over the decades. It operates as Nigerian Premier Domestic Competition. I believe we have with 20 clubs engaged in the 38 matches season that test endurance, strategy, and local depth. And we have the IATO Cup, which is the Nigerian Outstanding FA Cup, dating back to 1945 and sponsored by IATO since 2017. This functions as a true knockout tournament open to professional, amateur, and lower division clubs, and also creating opportunities for Cinderella stories and intense local rivalries. The African Games, launched in 1965 in Brazzaville as a showcase for continental athleticism, now occur quadrennially with preparation from 54 African NOCs, African clubs or African countries across more than 20 sports, serving as both a talent pipeline for the Olympics and a symbol of Pan-African unity amid diverse challenges. We have over 7,500 athletes typically compete with medal tables, revealing Egypt's historical dominance with 753 golds, 1,827 total medals, driven by strength in swimming, wrestling, and weightlifting, followed by Nigeria with 517 golds, with total of 1,448, and South Africa and the like. So, in conclusion, what we are trying to analyze and to discuss in this module is that international and local sporting events, it represents far more than athletic contest. They rather embody shared human aspirations, cultural bridges, economic catalysts, and sources of inspiration that resonate across generations and geographies. So through this thorough analysis of their structures, which could include hosting mechanism, regulatory frameworks, historical triumphs, and statistical legacies, so it becomes evident how this competition continues to shape society, drive progress, and unite people in pursuit of excellence. Thank you. That will be the end for this module.